FCM fam. This video is just a quick overview on how I would tackle presentations for FCM challenges. I've been doing it since end of season 5 and since I've learned a lot, especially how to do your presentation quick. So here we're in DaVinci. We have my project for season 8 week 1 basically. What I would do, like if it's your first time participating, just create a brand new project, and if for example we're in week 1 now, but moving on next week will be week 2 of season 8, so we just take the same projects and basically just do that, and just rename it week 2 or whatever week. This ensures you get all your previous presentation moving along projects. Here's how it's broken down. So basically I would always keep the previous one just in case if I need to grab anything from it, but I always have 2 separate folders. So here's my folder, my bin for season 8 week 1. I always remove anything unnecessary, if it's previous stills or previous footage from another challenge. I just want to keep it clean and neat. So first thing I'm gonna do when I start a new challenge is obviously import your footage. Here for season 8, the footage is already provided, but for season 7, for example, you had to find your own footage. So here, for example, for week 1, we have 1 red footage and 1 black magic one. So first thing I would do is just create a new timeline with the selected clips and just rename it season 8 week 1, for example, _grade. That would be my naming conventions, but do whatever you want and you prefer, Obviously I'm not gonna do that because I already have it. So here's my timeline, and if we go inside, we have the 2 clips back to back, and I would just move to my color tab as I would do with my node tree and all this. Just keep it simple, and obviously I have my clips here, and I always grab my reference. If I have one, for example for week 1, I grabbed this reference here, which was a reference that was given to me from a client from the project documentary I just finished today, and I find it really great, but that's a side story, So yeah, I like to have my reference here. For example, for season 7, I would have my footage and in the same timeline my reference, and just grab a still of this reference. For example, I have it just here, and it's just easier to shot match things. So I would grade my footage as usual, and then moving to the presentation part. Here for season 8, I only need 2 different timelines. But for season 7, I would need 3. I would need 1 for my quad stack, 1 for my tri stack, 1 for my presentation. I think that's all, yeah. Here we don't need any quad stacks, it's only tri stacks. So for my stacks, basically, it's set up like that. I would have, by the way, this isn't mandatory, it's just me wanting to put back to back the log grade and Rec 709, but if I recall correctly, this was not mandatory in Kazi's rules and guideline video. So yeah, this is mandatory. So this should be this is called a tri stack. This should always be the first thing we need to see in your entries. It's just a more visual way to analyze it for whoever basically gives you a grade and gives you feedback. So that will be called a tri-stack because there's 3 stills. So you should always put your Rec 709 on top, at least for season 8. It may change from season to season. Here, since we don't have a reference, we only have a client brief. Kazi asked for us to put the Rec 709, then your 2 shots graded, because we're grading 2 shots for season 8. So shot 1, shot 2, and make sure these 2 shots are the same. If this is your hero shot, then the Rec 709 should be your hero shot 709 and not the secondary shot, just for comparison purposes, I guess. So for your try stack, just start by uploading whatever still you want, and basically you just create a timeline that's 3 times the height. So if you want to change that, it's just in timeline settings, and basically I just change that. So I would have 3 video tracks for each still, and then I have, this is not even mandatory, it's just me for like naming purposes, sorry. I like to make it clear and spell it out, so we all know this is Rec 709, this is the grade, and this is the grade 2. And if I put the log, again, this is not mandatory, it's just me wanting to put the comparison, so I'm spelling it. This is log, this is grade, this is Rec 709, sorry. If you had a different pixel, different ratio aspect, then you would need to manually adjust it in your timeline setting. This would be the same because it stays the same, but the height of your timeline needs to change. This would be my first timeline for presentation, and then I have something called presentation, and this can be done in a lot of ways. This is how I like to do it. And this so this is basically the video breakdown, but it also is my buy stack, and so how it's done, I have my reference here, which is Rec 709 conversion, same as the try stack, by the way. Then I have all my text in a separate layer, and it allows me, if I want to just adjust, anything, the size, whatever, I can just adjust it all, which is really cool. And if I need to change the naming, I just go here and change the naming, Pretty cool. And here, so I would put my footage. So how would I attack it? I would just take the footage. So here's my footage, and to do that before after, what I would just do is grab it, copy it, and then just go to color and reset everything on the first one. So that if I do that, I have my V1 with no grade and my V2 with a grade. Then you just, set up where you want it to transition to from log to graded, and just, bring it here. Just make sure there's no timing issues. And then you just go to your effects library and I thought I had it in favorites, and then you just type edge wipe, which is what helps the transition to do. So you put it here. When you first import it, it's set up like that. Just have 2 things to change for it to be something like that. First thing to change is the angle. You set it to 90 so that it wipes like this and not like that. And I like to put some ease in and out, which create that very nice effect, like going like really slow, then fast and slow again, Find it really cool. So that's just it. And then I would just, put it at the beginning of my timeline. And then you have to wipe from basically each node or each major step you take in your grade. With the Rec 709, so this would be my Rec 709, it's just a grab still, and it doesn't change. And how do you do all of this? Basically, you just go into your grade. Here it is. Just get out of here. You make sure you select a frame that's really, in focus and represents the shot itself. So here I would maybe choose, I want to see a bit of, so maybe I wouldn't choose like, this where there's some motion blur. I would maybe choose something like that, this frame, for example. Make sure to always stay at the same frame, by the way. And here I would just do this. So I would kill all the grades, and then reactivate each node in the way my thought process was, and in the way I built the grades. So take a grab still. We're going to do it here, for example. You can have as many of these as you want. I like to separate them, but you can see this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm showing you. So I'm just showing you for you. I would do a grab still. By the way, you can do it like this. I just have the micro panel, so I'm doing it on panel. So this would be my ungraded stage, and then my CST. Then I'm doing my primaries, so take another grab still. Then I'm doing my S-curve, another grab still. Then I'm doing my look, another grab still, and basically each step, vignette, glow, grain, and noise reduction. So you have every grab still here, and then you just, select all of them and export them as JPEGs. And then you just re-import them, going into the presentation, and that's what it is here. So here are my grab stills. And if you want a little tip, if you don't want to manually adjust every still, because of course when you're gonna, if I do that, when you're gonna import it, it's going to come at like in the middle, and you don't want to manually adjust it because it's long and it's annoying. So a good tip would be to copy this and then paste with Alt V, not Control V, Alt V, and then paste all the video attributes. And there you have it, It's taken the same properties in position and all of this, which is pretty cool. And then you just, move on and do it, and you just take your edge wipe and copy paste, so that you have all of this. So you can just export this as your breakdown video, so it will look like that, and then it wipes from step to step. So this would be your video breakdown, and then you can also use it as your bystacks. You just go make sure not to be on the wipe transition, be in between where nothing is happening, and just grab still, and then export that, and that would be your bystacks for your presentation in the FCM group. So basically that's it. So here this has two purposes. It's for your breakdown video and it's for your bystacks. Here you have the tri-stack with Rec 709 on top and the 2 shots graded, and obviously you can just export these back to back for your video, like the 2 shots, in motion. I think that's it. And yeah, just a little tip, if you imagine we had a reference, for example, here, and you want to do those side-to-side comparisons, you just can use the wipe. So the wipe is by default like that, but you have many options, and usually the ones I use the most is the diagonal one, this one. Then you have this one, and you just can set it up whatever you want. This one is pretty cool too. Used it a lot for season 7. And then you have the mosaic one. So yeah, just different options for you to choose from if you want to do some wipes. For example, if you want to do a comparison, from the wide shot to the close-up. And often I will work like this, wiping along and making sure everything is good, is in the same world. So yeah, that was my project overview for FCM Challenges. I hope this was useful. Feel free to ask any questions, and also there's a pinned post inside the group with all the rules and guidelines. Nick also did pretty detailed one. And also, if you have any doubts, just go back to the rules and guidelines video from Kazi for season 8.